Her name was Henrietta Lacks, a young black mother from Virginia whose cells refused to die. In a world divided by race and class, her body quietly bridged the gap between mortality and immortality. Without her knowledge or consent, a sample of her cancer cells taken in 1951 became the foundation of modern medicine. They would travel the world, go to space, and reshape science. Forever known as HeLa. Yet for decades, the woman behind those letters remained unknown. This is her story of life, legacy, and the ethics of immortality. Henrietta Pleasant was born in 1920 in Roanoke County, Virginia. She grew up among tobacco fields, raised by her grandfather after her mother's death. The rural South was hard and segregated, but community was strong. Neighbors shared meals, music, and faith. As a teenager, she married David Lacks and moved to Baltimore, searching for opportunity in the industrial North. She was a mother of 5, kind, devout, and known for her bright red nail polish, a small act of joy in a world that often tried to dim her light. In January 1951, Henrietta visited Johns Hopkins Hospital, one of the few institutions that treated black patients after discovering a painful lump. Doctors diagnosed cervical cancer. During treatment, a biopsy was taken and sent to a lab run by Dr. George Gay. In those days, consent was rarely asked for. What mattered was the science. But this sample was different. Unlike any cell line before, Henrietta's cells did not die after a few days. They multiplied endlessly, vibrantly, as if refusing to be forgotten. Scientists were astonished. Every other cell sample had perished, but HeLa thrived. Within weeks, vials of Henrietta's cells spread from Baltimore to labs across the nation. They became the first immortal human cell line, a biological blueprint for research. Under microscopes, they glowed with life, dividing every 20 hours. For scientists, it was a miracle of cellular biology. For Henrietta's family, it was a story they didn't yet know was unfolding. HeLa cells were soon everywhere, sent to universities, pharmaceutical companies, and military labs. They helped test vaccines, study radiation, and explore the human genome. Entire industries were built on them. Yet Henrietta Lacks was never told, never asked, never credited. Her name was reduced to a syllable, HeLa, as if science could separate discovery from dignity. Her cells brought hope to millions, even as her own family struggled to make ends meet. In labs worldwide, HeLa cells multiplied beyond measure, an estimated 50 million metric tons grown to date. They became the gold standard of biological testing. Yet, beneath the microscope's glow was a darker question. Who owns a piece of a person? And what do we owe to the lives behind scientific breakthroughs? These questions would linger for decades, unasked, unanswered, and often ignored in the race for progress. By the mid-1950s, HeLa cells were used to develop the polio vaccine, saving millions of children. They traveled in test tubes to space to study cellular effects of zero gravity. They helped map chromosomes, test chemotherapies, and pave the way for in-vitro fertilization. Henrietta's cells became silent companions to nearly every major medical discovery of the modern era, a legacy written not in ink, but in DNA. Even the stars were not beyond her reach. When HeLa cells orbited Earth, scientists saw how human biology responded to the cosmos. But on Earth, the Lacks family remained unaware. They received no royalties, no recognition. For them, Henrietta was a mother buried in an unmarked grave. For science, she was the key to immortality, and yet she had been erased from her own story. In the 1970s, scientists contacted the Lacks family, not to apologize, but to request more blood samples. Only then did the family learn Henrietta's cells were still alive. her daughter, Deborah searched for answers, haunted by questions of faith and science. Could her mother feel pain? Was her spirit trapped in those cells? The truth was less supernatural, but no less extraordinary. Henrietta Lacks had become a symbol of both scientific progress and systemic injustice. Her story ignited debates that reshaped medical ethics. Who controls our cells once they leave our bodies? Do we have a right to consent, to profit, to privacy? The case of Henrietta Lacks became a mirror for a nation grappling with race, class, and the price of discovery. Through lawsuits, books, and documentaries, her family's voice finally emerged, demanding not revenge, but recognition. Today, Henrietta's legacy lives in every medical breakthrough that bears the mark of HeLa. Her story inspired a new generation of Black doctors and researchers to enter the sciences, to humanize the lab bench, to make ethics as essential as experiments. Johns Hopkins has since formally recognized her contribution, and the NIH now requires family consent for use of the HeLa genome. Progress, long delayed, but never denied. From unmarked grave to global honor, Henrietta Lacks has become an eternal presence in science and society. Her cells continue to multiply, still alive today, still teaching us. But perhaps her greatest gift is the lesson of respect, that progress without ethics is hollow, and that behind every microscope is a human story worth remembering. Henrietta Lacks was a mother, a wife, and a woman whose cells gave humanity a mirror to its own soul. Her life asks us to honor the people behind the progress, to see every breakthrough as a bridge between human hope and human responsibility. In every lab, her cells still divide, a quiet heartbeat of science and sacrifice. This has been Roots Renaissance. See you in the next chapter.